If you're ready to start making your pendant, if you already know how to create a balanced positive and negative composition, how to use Pathfinder, how to use Shape Builder, and how to expand strokes and fonts, then you're ready to start making your pendant. In Illustrator, I'm going to go to just make a new document, and it doesn't have to be pretty big. Small is good. So 5 inches by 5 inches is plenty of space. In fact, if you want to make that even smaller, that's fine. One word to the wise, I made a pendant that was a little bit too big, and then after I printed it, I'm like, I'll never wear that. It's super big. First thing I recommend is thinking about your shape. I'm just going to make a simple round pendant with the ellipse tool, but there's no reason why it couldn't, for example, have a rounded rectangle. I don't recommend something like this shape because who wants to wear something that has like hard edges like that? Although if you come in and you wanted to create something like this and maybe have like a diamond shape, you could do something where you rotate this, but just maybe soften those edges. If you get the idea. Oh, what the heck! I'll make a diamond shape one. So I'm going to grab this and click, and this comes out. All right. First things first. Width and height. I'm thinking about 1.25 inches is about as big as I want to get with this. If you look at a ruler, it'll give you a pretty good idea of how big you want to go, unless you're making something a little bit different. And for the corner radius, I don't think I want such a dramatic corner radius, so I'm going to bring this down a little bit to let's just see what happens, 0.8. Okay, so you can see I get a little bit of a slightly less crazy corner radius. So I'm happy with that. I'll delete this one. And I want to think about where I want the top. I'm thinking of this as kind of like a diamond, so I'm going to make it like that. And I want to have a circle at some point. What's this circle for? Well, if this is a pendant, I need somewhere to cut it out. You're not going to put the circle all the way up here. You want to have a little bit of space. So imagine this is cut out wood, and that's going to be right there. So I'm going to leave that be. And I'm going to go to my layers, and both of those are on one layer, so I'm going to lock that layer so I don't accidentally mess with those. And I'm going to make another layer, and this is where the design part really comes in. With the Shape Builder tool, with the your other tools, you're going to come in here. Make sure, by the way, when you see this, you should have a square path like this. If it does something else that's kind of funky, like you don't want the area type tool, so make sure it doesn't look like this. Like round like that. Make sure it doesn't look like type in a path tool. We'll get into those later. So I'm just going to click down here, and let's say I make my initials R, and I'm going to get this out of Myriad Pro because I can't stand Myriad Pro. That's like the default font in Illustrator, which everybody uses because it's what it always goes to. So I'm going to grab something else. I'm not quite sure what just yet. Ooh, this looks cool. Although, why didn't it switch to it? Let's try that again. I think I have to click over on the side, so I'll go to American Typewriter this time. So when I do this, I will condense light. Okay, that's very, very dim. I don't know if I really like that because it's a little hard to see. Maybe I can add a stroke to it and make it a little thicker. And then also, obviously, I'm going to make this bigger. So, I could do something like that to just get started, but the idea behind this is that you're creating a balanced positive and negative space. That's pretty boring right now. So maybe I'm going to play around with my initials. But you can see in my example, and I think at this point you know how to do this, you can see in my example I created something where I feel like it's an interesting balanced positive and negative space. It's not just the words. It's, I played around with this idea of adding other things into it, but I can clearly see my initials in there. So that's ultimately the challenge for this piece. If you're like, okay, how do I go back and do that? This video right here, the exercise on expanding strokes and characters, is a must watch and must do. If you don't do that, you're going to be lost. So obviously, I'm assuming you've already done the Pathfinder exercise, this one, and the Shape Builder exercise. But if you skip exercise number 3, you're going to be lost. But I'm not going to bother to walk you through all that right now because it's just the same thing. But I want you to think about how to create a well-balanced positive negative space design with this. And in the next video, I'll show you how to format this for the laser printer. Good luck.